Begin with the end in mind. That's the advice that many entrepreneurs fail to follow, but not Edin Basic. He founded Firezza, a pizza chain in the UK with a clear exit strategy. It paid off. Edin sold his company to a market leader in 2016 and became a millionaire. In today's interview, we'll discuss how Edin planned for and executed on his exit strategy. Edin, happy to have you on the call today.
Hi, Adam. Hi, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Great. So let's dive right in. What inspired you to start Firezza? What problem were you aiming to solve? And how did you come up with this idea?
I always knew I wanted to do my own business. You know, my mind is very much kind of geared what people call entrepreneurial way. You know, I can see everything can be improved, anything can be done differently. And I was in the same industry, you know, I was in the food and drinks and restaurants, concerts, and what have you. So what really originally we thought was a good idea, my partner and myself, the two of us, was that there was a huge market. You know, pizza delivery was really big, dominated by big corporates. And we thought, wow, you know, there's something missing here. The quality, the food, the service, the branding, you know, it just felt like it needed a bit of shake up and a challenge. And we just went for it. We went to Naples, where pizza originated. We found this pizza al metro concept, and wood fire ovens. It was really something new in London at the time. And it just went from strength to strength from day one.
Amazing. And so how long was it from the time that you started the business to the time you exited?
Well, it was too long. We were really inexperienced, and all we had was a huge desire to change things and to do something. And so we learned most of the things by mistakes, you know. So it took us 15 years to build up a number of sites in London. We didn't become market leader in London and surrounding areas in the kind of this gourmet pizza delivery sites. Anyway, looking back now, if I knew then what I know now, it would take me probably half of the time and doubling the return, I guess.
Absolutely. And so if we're going 15 years from idea to exit, at what point did you seek funding?
Well, what we knew is we always knew we didn't want to build up the lifestyle business. You know, we wanted to build up the chain, really strong brand, and exit eventually. We didn't know how, but that was a decision we made at the early stage. Now, we really didn't look for the investment. You know, we didn't go through the classical, typical fundraise where you build up the pitch deck and presentations and looking for investors and all that. They just approached us. It was such a big deal, you know, that time to start something like this. You know, we were making lots of noise, and it was I think our accountant, he knew somebody who knew investors, and VC came, look at it, say yes, tick, and that was it, really.
I think for many people, that's an entrepreneurial dream when a VC approaches you and says, hey, I love what you're doing, take some money.
Yeah, it was more or less like this, yeah.
That's fantastic. All right. And so can you walk us through the exit process, in particular, the factors that contributed to its success and how long it took you to do that?
Well, this is really interesting. I think we ran one sales process with big corporate finance company, which we hired. And it didn't work out for some reasons. I think there was kind of misalignments in what we were expecting and what kind of investors and so on. So we took everything in our own hands. At that time, around this 2016, the market was changing rapidly. So you had your big aggregates starting to dominate all delivery market. all the big companies, they just wanted to, they had this FOMO feeling of not to miss out. Everybody wants to have a part of this, crazy delivery vibe. So yeah, it was market changes really influenced our decision, although it wasn't in our strategy at the time. So we invested lots of money in building up the resources. We had the operations manager. We wanted to build up, 30, 40 sites, but because of the market was changing rapidly and we were approached by, different big corporates to buy, we look at it, okay, this is the certainty, we don't know how it's going to work out, which direction market is going. We decided to choose a market leader at the time, and we started, made head of terms, which head of terms, you agreed the price, you agreed the deal, the nature of the deal. And that was quite complicated, backwards and forwards, it's never easy. And we started the due diligence process. Due diligence where they check everything basically. So because it was a big company, we were quite small, relatively small, they were really thorough in due diligence. And, it lasted about 6 months, which is really unusual for this kind of size of the deal. It was a huge deal, but it was big enough for us. And within these 6 months, I can honestly say that was one of the hardest periods in my professional life ever.
How so?
Because you can't drop the ball in performance. You have to run the company really efficiently, to deliver the numbers, what you promised. And at the same time, you have to run due diligence, which is another full-time job itself. So you've got to kind of double the amount of work, and you really have to be on the ball, because if you drop performance, they're going to drop the price, and the deal is going to fall through.
Mm-hmm.
And more closer you get, you're kind of focusing your mind on the sales process and the exit, and everything is shifting in the priorities and the strategies. So the stress level and then it is growing. Is it going to happen? And in fact, it was quite stressful. We walked out, they walked out, and it's just kind of bouncing backwards and forwards until and there was I think one in February was evening, Friday night in the city of London, raining, and I thought that's it. It's not going to happen. Basically, let's just run our company, get it back, and go back on the track of original strategy. And then they called us in the office, and we signed, and we came out. It was taking last train home on Friday night, exhausted, literally, like so tired. And I have nobody to tell. With my wife, she was in Italy with my kids, and I just went back home, opened a bottle of wine, have a little glass, and went to sleep. And that was it, really. It wasn't that glamorous as I imagined to be. Thursday afternoon, Sunday, you come out with all your friends and you celebrate. It wasn't like this at all.
Yeah. It's funny how that is. My wife and I were in a similar boat. We actually bought and sold 3 of our own businesses over the years. I wouldn't call any of them exits for any of our listeners, because it was, small, low 6-figure amounts, nothing super interesting. But I do remember the stress and the back and forth, both being on the buy and the sell side, of always getting the numbers right, making sure everything is there, checking out the risk reward, and trying to find a balance and a win for everybody. I remember distinctly selling one of our businesses, and we were in Mexico, which you think could be very fun and exotic. And I remember both of us just ended up like lying out on the front porch and not doing anything, because we had no idea what we were going to do next. And you expect it to be this big, like, climactic moment, but really it's just kind of relief, and then questions kick in, like, what do we do next?
Well, that's exactly what I thought. Yeah, that's really interesting to say that. It's like you're chasing something and you're climbing that mountain, and you're kind of putting lots of energy, your priorities in building up and scaling and, what have you. And once you get there, once you kind of get it, I remember clearly thinking, well, it's kind of exciting, but at the same time, I remember thinking, is that it? really? I was expecting something different, you know. But then immediately, as you said, you're thinking, what's next? What's what I'm going to do now with this, you know?
It's the
Uh,
entrepreneurial mind at work.
yeah, I guess. Well, yeah, it is. I think we need to. What changed with me at the time was like why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, what is the why? What is the next project going to be like? You know, it's not about money only. I think it's a lot more than this.
Exactly. That's very much where my wife Darcy and I are at right now with what we're
Mm.
working on with funnel candy. It's it's not designed to, we don't have an exit in mind. But it's also not a lifestyle business. It's more, if you think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, once you have food, water, shelter, companionship, at the very top of that is self-actualization. And so that's kind of where I think you're on the same level as us, which is like, how do we create something that best reflects ourselves and helps others and makes the world a better place? And you're very good at that in offering mentorship and helping others go through this process.
Yeah, that's something I'm really passionate about now. I opened quite well more than 40 restaurants in my life, and now I'm doing exactly what you said. I'm helping founders to avoid doing the mistakes. Well, to avoid learning by mistakes.
Yes. It pays
Okay.
to talk to somebody who already knows where all those landmines are, so you don't have to find out for yourself.
Yeah, because you see sometimes, okay, mistakes can be costly, but more importantly, they if you don't know where you're heading and you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, what is the exit strategy, what is the end game, then you may make some decisions which will be irreversible down the line.
That's an excellent
Does
point.
that make sense?
It does. Yeah. You can tell
Still
I had to just absorb that one for a second. And frankly, Edin, I think that's an amazing point to end on so that we can all think about that, which is think deeply
right.
about where you're headed, what you want to do, and try and avoid those irreversible changes whenever possible.
Well said.
Oh, it's yours, man. I'm just riffing on you. Great. Well, Edin, thank you so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. For anybody listening, if this is your first interview, please do visit us at funnelcandy.com for more of these interviews, 10 to 15 minutes with very successful, very interesting people like Edin. And to learn more about Edin and his journey, you can follow him on LinkedIn. We'll be sure to include links to his profile so that you can learn more. He has a fascinating story. So, Edin, thank you again for joining us, and we will be in touch
Thanks,
soon.
man.
All right.
Take care. Cheers, Adam. Ciao.